Hi everyone. Today's lesson is an animated summary of the owls in the family by Ruskin Bond. This lesson is for all those who found the lesson hard to understand. So if you read the text and found that it was not very easy to understand the sequence of events over there, maybe you will find this easy. So do go through this video and you will understand the story very well. Let's do this. Grandfather and the narrator found a baby spotted owlet on the ground by the veranda steps. If you look at your screen, towards the left, you will see a baby spotted owlet right there. So they found it there. That's grandfather, that's the narrator. Then grandfather picked it up. And as soon as grandfather picked it up, it was angry because birds do not like to be touched. Then grandfather decided to feed it. So he brought some raw meat for it. You can see the raw meat down there in the picture. And some water. And after they fed it some raw meat and water, the little baby owlet settled down. It stopped being so angry. Then the narrator took the baby owlet into his room and it settled down under his bed. It slept there all night and was quite comfortable. This bird is not normally afraid of man, nor is it strictly a night bird. People always say that owls come out at night. It's not really true. Owls are actually very shy and they prefer to stay home during the day only because they do not want to be attacked by other birds, not because they are nocturnal, not because they are night birds. Let's continue with the story. So that little owlet was very happy under the narrator's bed. And then the following morning, they found another baby owlet in the same place. If you look at the bottom left of your screen, you will see the second baby owlet over there. And that's grandfather and the narrator. When they looked up, of course, they realized that the owlets had probably fallen from their nest, which was situated near the rainwater pipe, just where the rainwater pipe emerged through the roof. There was a rough sort of nest and the birds fell from there. So the narrator took both the birds into his bedroom, and now that they had the company of each other, they did not want to settle under his bed anymore. They sat on the ledge by the window. And if you can see those blue lines on your screen, that's actually a mosquito net, not a very good representation of it, I'm sorry. But that's my mosquito net. And the baby owlets were inside the mosquito net, sitting on the ledge, while the narrator went to sleep that night. But then what happened during the night? Mother owl came looking for them. She sat outside the window and she crooned and gurgled. She made these loving sounds because she knew that her babies were right there. And of course, she did not trust the narrator and his grandfather to look after her babies very well. So she decided to leave a little mouse for them. Now, if you look carefully at the picture on the right-hand side of your screen, you can see the tail of the mouse right there. Now, why do you see only a tail? Because it was a mosquito net and she could not manage to fit the entire mouse through the hole in the mosquito net, but the tail did go through. So, well, the babies couldn't eat only a tail, but she did try her best because she was a good mother. So the birds continued to grow. They grew very well. And about 10 days later, grandfather and the narrator took them out into the garden to release them. They knew that it was time to let those birds go into the wild because that is where they belonged and that is where they would be very happy. So Someone was watching while they did that. Mother Owl. She wanted to know what they were doing with her babies, and she was very confused. So the narrator picked one baby owlet up and he put it on the branch of a tree. Okay? Of a mango tree to be precise. And he was just about to bend and pick the other owlet up when Mother Owl swooped down from where she was and she hit him on the back of his head. Why? Because she thought that the narrator was trying to harm her babies and she would not let that happen. So she hit the narrator. Of course, she tried to hit grandfather as well, but grandfather was agile and he moved out of the way in time. Then Mother Owl decided that she would take her babies safely away. So she took them to the far end of the garden where there was some long grass. So the narrator and grandfather went back into the house, thinking that Mother Owl had taken her babies home. They were safe now, and the narrator thought he would never see them again. However, what happened next? If you look at your screen now, to the left side of your screen, the top left, you will see Mother Owl sitting right there. What she did was she brought her babies back the following morning, and then she sat over there and she made sounds, woo, woo, to show that she was sorry for what she did the previous day. And there her babies are on the right of your screen. And the narrator came out of the front door and he saw the baby owlets right there. Of course, he was very happy because he and grandfather loved animals. So they adopted these two little birds. Grandmother, of course, was different. She was not very fond of pets. But she somehow became very fond of these two owlets, even though they were strange pets. Not many people would have owlets as pets. And the owlets loved grandmother. When they heard her voice, they would go running towards her. And grandmother always wore a petticoat, so they would run after anyone who wore a petticoat. Unfortunately, Aunt Mabel in the background there, she wore a petticoat too. Of course, not in this picture, but yes, she wore a petticoat. So the owls loved grandmother and they would run after Aunt Mabel because she also wore a petticoat. But Aunt Mabel, she was not fond of them. In fact, she was very scared of them. So every time she saw them running after her, of course, they would run after her with love. But she was scared and she would run around shrieking because she was very scared of them. And now, to end the story, the narrator says that when he thinks of those days with the baby owlets, he has this lovely picture in his mind, a picture of grandmother in her rocking chair. Once he had entered the room, grandmother was having an afternoon nap, a short sleep, and she had one of the owls there by her ear. It had crawled up her pillow till its head was snuggled under her ear, and both grandmother and the little owl were snoring. Imagine that. So I hope that this animated summary of the story has helped you to understand it much better. I hope it was useful to you. Until we meet again, cheerio.